Well, good morning, and welcome to some musings with Steve Morrison. I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel and encourage you to subscribe. And over the next several months, I'll be sharing different things about real estate and what to look for. Talk to you about agency in North Carolina, how things work in North Carolina. We have a lot of out-of-state buyers coming to Hendersonville and the Asheville area, and so we do things very differently in North Carolina. And so it's sometimes a big shock for buyers coming in from other states because we have different rules and different inspection periods and that sort of thing. So I want to start off today by talking how agency works in North Carolina. There are three primary agencies in North Carolina. The way the realtor will serve you and work with you, they will work as a buyer's agent or a seller's agent or a dual agent. Quite simply, and this is probably an oversimplification of the process, buyer's agent represents the buyer solely. Anything the buyer says, that buyer's agent is to keep in confidence. Nothing that they reveal about, hey, we'd pay $50,000 above asking price. Well, that's just between the buyer's agent and the buyer. Man, we've really got to have a house because if we don't, we're going to have to live in a hotel, or worse yet, we're going to have to live in a van down by the river, until we find something. So the motivation of a buyer, the willingness of a buyer and what they're willing to pay, that sort of thing is kept private between the agent and the buyer himself or herself. So we really want to stress that. That's how buyer agency works. Also, you have seller agency, and it's just conversely, it's the same thing for sellers. If I'm representing the seller, then I am going to keep everything they say. Hey, we've listed this thing at $400, but we take $300 for it. Well, I'm not going to go advertise that to anybody, and I'm not going to tell an agent that calls and says, hey, do you think they'll take less? The answer is you need to make your best offer, and we'll consider all offers given. So the seller agent protects the seller's interest at all time. It's our fiduciary duty to watch over and protect our people. And so buyer agent protects their buyer, seller agent protects their seller. Now a dual agent works for both the buyer and the seller. So how do you protect them both? Well, you train them and you teach them and you educate them on what to expect and how to make an offer as a buyer, how to counter as a seller. That way, everybody is represented fairly. I don't share information from buyer to seller or seller to buyer. And dual agency also works if a firm has the listing and the buyer's agent works in the firm. So if you come to RE/MAX Results and you say, hey, I like this house over at 437 Rutledge. It's my favorite place in the world, which is a house that I was blessed enough to work with a couple on buying. And our firm had that house listed. And so it was dual agency. And so we worked in that realm. I could not tell them what to offer. I could not tell them what to counteract. I just had to hope that the things that we had discussed in previous settings carried over and they were able to navigate that purchase. And guess what? They were, and they live in that house now. And they love that house. And they love me, and I love them. We have a great relationship. So those are the three primary types of agencies. The way realtors work in North Carolina, whether you're in Asheville or you're in Wilmington, doesn't really matter. From mountains to sea, agency functions in the same way in the state of North Carolina throughout. So those are three types of agency in North Carolina. Actually, you'll be required to sign a nice little document that says, hey, my agent told me about these agencies and the way agency works in North Carolina before we ever really work with you. Before you ever tell us, hey, I'm willing to spend $500,000, our responsibility is to tell you how agency works in North Carolina. So be on the lookout for that. Be aware of that. It does not obligate you when you sign that document. It doesn't obligate you to work with anybody. It just says that, hey, Steve has done his job and told me how agency in North Carolina works. So that's the quick hit 5-minute little video on how agency in North Carolina works. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.